Factoring. Today with your host, Mr. Thornburg. That song is what got me into metal. That song, oh man, love that song. Whew. All right, well I'm ready to begin. So let's get this started. Today is 8-7, factoring with special cases. The big idea here, to factor perfect square trinomials and the difference of and factoring the difference of two square trinomials. So all we're dealing with today is numbers and even variables that are perfect squares. Is the big idea. Now if you remember in 8-4, if you look back to your notes in 8-4, we multiplied these special cases together to create the difference of squares and then these perfect square trinomials. So what we're going to do today is just do the exact opposite, take them apart. So here we go. If we look at the next section here, and this is clipped right out of your book, but the key concept here, again, in 8-4 we went this way. We had this right here, okay, a plus b quantity squared, and I told you that it's this, so a plus b times a plus b, and then we have to use binomial distribution to multiply that out, and we end up with a squared plus 2 times ab plus b squared. Alright, or in this case, we end up with a squared minus 2 times ab plus b squared. Alright, well now we're just going to go the opposite way. Okay, so now we're going to go the other way. Alright, I'm going to give you this, and you're going to work back to this. Alright, for example, x squared plus 8x plus 16. Well, the factors of 16 that add together to give me 8 are 4, so it's x plus 4 and x plus 4, which we can write as just x plus 4 squared. Okay, same thing here. We get 4n squared minus 12n plus 9 equals, again, what are the factors of 9 that add together, 9 and 4 that add together to give me 12. Remember, we got the AC method here, so 9 times 4 is 36. What are the factors of 36 that add together to give me 12? Negative 6 and negative 6, and then we can use by grouping to get this. Okay, how do we recognize these perfect square trinomials? The first and the last term are perfect squares. Now there is a second way that we can, really narrow it down, but for right now let's just do that. The second way is a little confusing, and I don't want to confuse you on this any more than I already have. So main way is that the first term and the last term, are perfect squares. 9 is a perfect square, 4n squared is a perfect square, x squared is a perfect square, 16 is a perfect square. That's how we're going to recognize these. Alright, well, let's get started on some examples. Alright, so let's look at these. Sorry, microphone is a little down. Hopefully you can hear me now. Alright, so let's look at these. Up here at the top, I can check the first and the last terms. Again, we want to make sure that that's what we're doing every time. The first and the last. The first is x squared, which is a perfect square, and the last is 9, which is a perfect square. So I'm going to try this factoring. Now, remember that this is still nothing more than what we've been doing before, just general factoring. Okay, what are the factors of 9 that add together to get me 6? So I want the factors of 9 that add together to give me 6, and it's 3 and 3. So x plus 3, x plus 3. Again, we can write this. I see they're the same exact thing. We can write this as x plus 3, quantity squared, and we need to do that. Okay. All right. So number 2. Look what I've given you here. There's something in front of a. Alright, makes it a little bit tougher, but again, I know that this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square. Okay, so this is positive 5, which either means it's negative or positive. This is positive, so it means it's negative or positive. But I know that I'm either going to be dealing with 2x plus 5 and 2x plus 5, right? Because 5 times 5 is 25 and 2x times 2x is 4x squared. That's where I got these from. Or I'm going to be dealing with negative 2x minus 5 negative 2x minus 5. Again, because negative 25 and negative 5 and negative 5 is 25. Negative 2x is 4x. But if I do this, you'll have a negative in the middle. So this one is not it because my b term would be negative. My b term is positive, so I know this one is it. And by b term, I'm talking about 20. 20 is positive, okay? So see how quickly I did that? Perfect square, boom, boom. Does it work? Yes, we're done, okay? Now I want you to try 3 and 4. Again, 4 looks nasty. 4 looks really tough. I want you to give it a shot and see what you come up with. Remember what I did on 2 for 4. Alright, I want to talk about something real quick. Here's what your answer should have been over here. Hopefully this one didn't give anybody problems. Here's what your answer should have been here. I think up here, I know up here I had previously stated that negative 2x minus 5 and negative 2x minus 5 would give you a negative answer in the middle. I was wrong. Give you a positive. If it's negative, whoops, it's a little bit of a big eraser there. If it's negative, it's going to be just one of them is going to be negative like this. This is not it because the middle term is positive. Here, the middle term is negative, and you can see that this is going to give us negative 42g, and the outside terms are going to give us negative 42g. Negative 42 and negative 42 is negative 84. Negative 6 and negative 6 is a positive 36. 7 and 7 is a positive 49. Okay? So final answer over here would have been 7g minus 6 quantity squared. Okay? Alright, so let's move on to something. Instead of doing 2 perfect squares, let's talk about the difference of 2 squares. So before we were talking about factoring perfect square trinomials, okay? Now we're just talking about the difference of 2 perfect squares. Understand that difference means subtraction and that we have 2 squares involved, okay? And again, if you remember in 8.4 we talked about a plus b times a minus b and how that would equal a squared minus b squared, because the middle term goes away. You end up with a plus ba and a minus ba, and that cancels. Alright, so you end up with this a squared minus b squared. So you can factor the difference of 2 squares by going the other way. I give you this and you tell me it's a plus b, a minus b. Alright, and again, if you want to think about factoring this in terms of what we've already done, then you would say, well, I don't have a middle term here, right? There's no b term. There's no term in the middle, okay, like we had with trinomials. Alright, so that means it's 0. So what are the factors of negative 100 that add together to give me 0? Well, if it's negative, they got to be opposite. So negative 10 and 10 multiply to give me negative 100 and add together to give me 0, which is what I want. Okay, so that's where this comes from. B minus 10, B plus 10. Are our factors. Done right there. 2 perfect squares. We just got to make sure the signs are opposites. Alright, let's try this one here. This one's well, it's not tougher. Again, I have 2 perfect squares. 4x squared is a perfect squared. Minus 81 is a perfect square. Okay, what's the square root of 4x squared? It's 2x. So I'm going to put that in the front on both sides. Get my parentheses up there. What's the square root of 81? It's 9. So again, I'm going to put a positive 9 and a negative 9. And there's my answer. Okay, try these last 2. No, here, let me try this one with you. Number 7 is tricky, okay? And then I'm going to have you do number 8. Number 7 is a little bit tricky, alright? I got 2x squared minus 2. What's the problem here? Hopefully you figured out that the problem is 2 is not a perfect square. I can't square root 2 and get any integer for a number, alright? It's an irrational number, the number I get, so I can't do that. So I have a problem. Nice thing is I've already taught you about this little baby, greatest common factor. Do they have a greatest common factor? Your answer should be yes. And what is it? And hopefully you answered 2. Okay, so it's 2 x squared minus 1. If I take 2 out of there, that's what I end up with. This is a perfect square. 1 is a perfect square. If I multiply 1 times 1, it's 1. So this becomes 2x minus 1, x plus 1. That's a plus sign. Not a really stupid looking, I don't even know what that looks like. Looks stupid, whatever it is. Alright. Okay. X plus 1 again. That's plus 1. You try this one here. Alright. So there's your final answer. 6 times 2g minus 1 times 2g plus 1. You can factor out the 6 and then everything looks nice. Okay. So this concludes Chapter 8. We're going to get started with reviewing next week. We got a big Kahoot coming up. Big prizes to be won. Big prizes. So be looking for that. I'm also thinking about doing a Kahoot outside of class. See if you guys would log into it. Because you can use your phones and stuff like that to get onto Kahoot. So maybe some Saturday night, instead of going out and having fun, you all can stay in and do math with me.